Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast series. On today's episode, I have someone that is a big fish, if you might love to call it that way. His name is Brendan, and I had to bring him a tight schedule just to come for today's podcast. Brendan, you're welcome. Thank you for coming by, and not to take so much of your time. I know you're very busy.
No.
All right, tell me, how is the reading break going on? How are you finding it?
You know what? Today's the first day of the reading break, and it's been really quiet. Often when there's no students on campus, it has a really different feel, and so, people are getting work done, and there are a couple people, but comparatively, it doesn't always feel like it has the same life as it normally does in the bustling season of campus.
Yeah. Brendan, let me just give the context to what Brendan does. Brendan is a career coach, and he's been doing this for a number of years. Today, he's going to share his wealth of knowledge on how to navigate your career and have a fulfilled career, as it were. So, based on what I've just said, I know everybody listening right now would like to know what you do. And on this podcast, Empty Yourself Before You Die podcast, we are here to just share every knowledge you have with the world. Someone will benefit from the knowledge you have. So today, Brendan is going to share his knowledge as a career coach and how he benefits the entire community and to make God glorious. So Brendan, what made you choose career coaching as like a career that you want to live for the rest of your profession?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would even use the word choose. It really was happenstance that I had fallen into. I was doing all sorts of different things, different jobs, and wasn't necessarily feeling it was using my strengths well. And so I had seen a position on a job board in a small town on Vancouver Island, and was curious to give it a shot. And my sales pitch was, I know that it is hard to find work, and so I wanted to help people with that. And it was primarily teaching, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and a bit of career coaching. And each job since then has slowly evolved and slowly changed and been more focused, and whether that is more toward coaching or more toward education, each was trying to fill a need of helping people to find meaningful work that they cared about, that they're passionate about, and that made an impact in the world around them.
Wow. You made mention of something. I just picked something from what you said. You said career education. Can you give more clarity to that?
Sure. So my official title at the moment is Manager of Career Coaching and Career Education, which is a very long title. But essentially what that means is my time is split between the kind of classical career coaching, one-on-one, sitting down with someone, really getting to know someone and helping them move forward, and career education, which is primarily teaching. And so teaching workshops and classes to help students make the most of their time here, to leave equipped as Trinity's mission is, and so really working in a larger scale, creating lessons that can be really impactful for people in a bite-sized version, so that they can go forward feeling more able to clarify what it means to find meaningful work.
Wow. So can you tell our audience right now can you give us more context to how far and how well the career education has been going backwards from where you started? Can you tell that it's been very impactful, maybe by the testimonials of some of the students you've helped or some of the experts you've helped so far?
At Trinity?
No, maybe not Trinity. Overall.
Sure. Well, each role that I've been in different contexts have had different goals, and so that first job that I was talking about on Vancouver Island was helping grade 12s at an alternative school figure out what they want to do when they grow up. It's a very different context. The vast majority of the class never had a job, and so rather than just thinking really big picture and using all the different things that someone has done, it was, how can we actually just explore the world around us to understand ourselves better? And so a lot of the fruit from that was instant, that we were able to find someone work or even just a day shadowing and then be able to go, okay, what do we love, what do we not love, how can we build a path forward. And so we were able to see a lot of the benefits very quickly. And the role after that, I was running a disability employment program, and so a little bit of a different focus. Many people had worked in many different roles, but so much of it was finding the best fit, finding something that really worked for the individual. And so that was a 10-week process where I'd be coaching and teaching over the course of 10 weeks with the hope that at the end we were able to find something that really meshed with each person. And so we were able to see some really great success stories where students learned what they really enjoyed, and that could actually lead to work rather than this thing that we like, but work has to be separate. And so we were able to place people in organizations that really cared about them, that valued their specific strengths, and so many great stories. That was based in Abbotsford, and so many
great stories.
So many organizations and employers and people that were able to have a positive impact from that. I actually found this job searching for a client of mine, and so I had seen this and was curious about the more university experience. When I was in university, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I didn't necessarily feel like I had someone I could talk to about it. That could lead me in a direction other than do more schooling or just apply online. And so I came here. And over the last year and a half, I've been able to work with hundreds of students from all sorts of different programs and backgrounds to explore together. Not as simple as just telling someone what they should do. I never think that helps, but sitting down and getting to know students and being a listening ear to guide through this season, letting them know that they don't need to make up their mind to just do whatever they're going to do for the next 50 years right now, but can come to better know themselves and the world around them and slowly work forward.
I think the way you sound, Brendan, you obviously enjoy what you do, and I can tell because I've experienced your work ethics firsthand, and I could tell that you actually love what you're doing. However, I know in everything there could be some ups and downs, and there are some low moments where you would naturally question what you're doing, whether you're doing the right thing or whether you're giving the right answers or help as needed. And in view of that, I would also want you to tell us or tell me the times you faced a challenge guiding a student whilst coaching to make a career decision. How was that experience like? How was that challenge like?
I think there's so many different times where I can almost read myself into someone's story. And at times that can be really valuable when there is that deep connection with someone. At other times, I can catch myself wanting to lead someone in a direction that I would go and not necessarily someone else. And so trying to find that balance is always a real difficulty as coaches, or at least for me. And so those difficult days are often when I've had this really fruitful conversation that has been super valuable and I thought was super valuable, but wasn't necessarily the goal of the individual. And so I think that can always be difficult when I think we're really getting somewhere and it ends with so what should I apply for, right? Where you don't necessarily feel like that is helpful long term, but has definitely been valuable for me to know the really small role that I can play, that I'm not always trying to solve someone's problem or change someone's life, but I'm just trying to be a little piece in someone's larger life story. And even just a 30-minute conversation has the ability to do that when I know that it isn't really me that is making this change, but rather being a part of a larger system that I'm thankful to be a part of in Trinity and to be used by God in the work that we're doing, rather than feeling that it's all on me.
You're very, very particular about the Supreme Being who is God Almighty. So you always bring God into whatever you do. So can you tell the difference with you being you as Brendan and with you acknowledging and involving God in what you do? Would you think without God you would have still be doing what you're doing, or it would have been a different ballgame?
It'd be different. When the role I did previously, it was far more challenging. We were actively told not to speak about anything further than what would you enjoy or feel satisfaction from, and where we would find joy and satisfaction in the work we're doing is because of this greater purpose. And so I think that was really challenging, where I was in it and I could really only have been doing it in the way that I was because of my faith. And so I'm thankful to be in this role where I do have the ability to talk about, okay, where are we actually coming from? What is our actual calling? But I catch myself too that I'm so far from being perfect to be still bold in conversations and share more of who God is and why He created us, and so definitely not perfect in that it intertwines with everything, but try my best to find times where there's a natural fit. Again, with the coaching mindset, we're asking questions, and so trying to balance being super gospel oriented and knowing that each conversation is different and requires different things.
Yeah, Brenda, another thing I'm always curious about, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I know at times people come and they have this preconceived notion of what they think coaching is, especially career coaching. So how do you navigate this kind of situation where people come and tell you, okay, I want to do this? They're already telling you what they want, and you're wondering, am I here to help you, or you're here to tell me what you want? So how do you navigate that?
Yeah, that's definitely the case, is that each person walking into a conversation believes that the goal is something different. And so we're lucky enough with the vast majority of our students in that belief is not something based on experience a lot of the time, but an assumption. And so often what I'll do is I will start the conversation very honestly. Okay, here's what coaching is. Here's what my goal is in this conversation. What is your goal? Like, what is the one thing that you're trying to accomplish in this? And then working together. And if that one thing is, I want to figure out what I'm going to do the next 40 years, then we can go through that together too, though we likely won't come to a solution in that conversation. But trying to build a foundation on what coaching is and coming to a middle ground so that we can best move forward. I think that was something that I really had to figure out over the first little bit here, and in knowing that there really is a balance between a true coach approach and a sprinkling of advising, and that we can't really go 100% coach approach, because for many students, they actually don't know, and no matter how many questions we ask, they may never come to the solution. We have knowledge and want to be sharing that, but finding that balance where we can allow students to come to answers themselves and feel empowered to go forward, while also sharing insights from employers and from other perspectives that a student might not always be privy to.
So when you say from employers and the perspective generally, do you also help clients build network? Because I know there is this problem. I don't know if you've ever encountered it, but I know people have I've heard people say that it's not only about getting a proper career coaching that's their problem. However, is how to connect with a particular career choice, with particular people in this field they want to delve into. So do you help people build like network of their community irrespective of the career they're trying to pursue? Do you help people do that as well?
Yeah, I think that help is a really big word there, and so if the question is, I've been told I need a network, can you connect me with 10 people? The answer is no for the most part. If the perception of a network is I need to have more connections on LinkedIn, I just need to have that number increased, then no matter how many people you have, you don't actually have a network of people that care for you, that will advocate for you. networking is like building a relationship. And when we view it that way, that it is this mutual thing where we're learning from one another, where we are making this initial connection and regularly watering and fostering that connection. My main goal in helping students develop a network is breaking down some of those preconceived notions that networking is this I use you, you use me situation, and more of who can we actually talk to? Like if we're being curious and saying I'm interested in this thing, how do I learn more about it? That I can get out there and build relationships so that I can be more prepared. And often having a robust network is the result of that curiosity, rather than this is a priority that I need to have, so I will add people and disregard them until I need them again. No one is ever offering someone a position because you connected 5 years ago on LinkedIn. It's through regular and continuous relationship building that when a position does come up, you're at the front of their mind going, they'd be a perfect fit for this.
Exactly.
And they'd be a perfect fit because I know them well. I've gotten to know their skills. I've gotten to see them work.
Right.
And so in terms of helping students, yes, because I think when that can be done well and that we understand that this is a relationship like anything else, students feel far more equipped to do that. When we just make an alumni connection with them and leave it at that, I haven't necessarily seen how that is really beneficial long term.
I like. I'm trying so hard not to be very. I know people do this transactional kind of networking, like you give me this, I give you this. But how do you try to educate? Now you're a career educator, right? So how do you educate people to grow beyond being transactional in their relationship and networking, right? Because like you rightly said, it's because you're top of my mind. I see an opportunity and I feel you're fit for it. And I say, Brendan, he's going to be fit for this. Because you're top of my mind. We've been communicating, we've been exchanging values, not just help me do this and that is it. For next 5 years, I'm not going to hear from you. So how do you educate people to grow beyond being transactional to being people of value?
I think it's so much easier when someone is a student or doesn't necessarily need anything. So either a student or someone who's already working. It can be incredibly difficult to build a network when you are also desperately looking for a job, where anyone you're reaching out, you're also just all you want to ask is there any positions that are there for me? And so I'm always encouraging our students a lot of the time. This is the perfect, it's never going to be easier than right now, because people accept that students are bold and don't necessarily know all the rules, and so reaching out of the blue is far more acceptable. And I think it is so important for them to know that this is normal. I will often frame it for students and for anyone that our goal is to ask for directions, not a ride. And so when students come in and go, I just want to talk to someone who's in this field, how do I do that? When we don't actually need a ride somewhere, it's so much easier to go, how do I get here? People are happy to give direction. They're always happy. And so so when our students are able to connect with someone just for a conversation, because they want to know what it's like, there isn't the pressure ahead of time.
Exactly.
They can ask questions. They can just be surface level questions. They can be anything. But when it is that, how do I actually do this, rather than can you hire me? It's so much easier to make those base level things that we can build upon over the long term. And that's for someone who's in a job already, and not just for students that we're still able to be curious and ask questions and build relationships with people, so that further down the road it isn't I should have done this. It's I'm thankful that I did. And this is coming from someone who all through my university career was not a priority. It wasn't something that I was maintaining and building. I always ask our students, how many times have you ever been to a professor's office hours? I've never gotten over 5. It's usually once, 0, maybe twice asking about assignments. But professors are such a valuable aspect of a network, right? People who know a field so well, have this vast experience and can speak to that. And for students, they have that luxury. But for the vast majority of people in school and out of school, there are those people, family members, friends, that can speak to these things that we're curious about. We get shy, where we don't want to be awkward and ask these intentional things, and really getting out there and being bold in that way. It leads to so much fruit. It's uncomfortable, sure, depending on who you are. It's uncomfortable for me, but I've just seen a lot of success of students and in myself when I have kind of pushed that voice away and really tried to build those
connections. Yes, I think those connections are very valuable because, like you rightly said, it can be uncomfortable, but it is easier to do when you're not under pressure looking for a job. Yes, I can tell. Yeah, I can. I'm an example.
You can relate.
Yeah, I'm an example. Yes, so I can tell. Another thing that I'm very curious about, and I'm curious to know, is if you have ever had a challenge with should I call it a challenge now? A situation where you had to coach someone through career navigation or career, what's it called again? Moving careers, right? I know it comes with a lot of mental and emotional aspects of it.
Yep.
There's so much tension. I don't know how the new career is going to look like. Am I going to be fit for it? Can I do it well? How do you navigate that? How do you help people with the emotional aspect of it to make it seem seamless?
I think in making major career changes, there are quite a few dysfunctional beliefs right off the bat that, when not addressed effectively, all of the things that are to come, there just isn't that sound foundation. There's rot underneath. And so the first being that it is irregular to make a career shift. The vast majority of people make major changes. Within Canada, we're often in double digits of the amount of jobs that someone would do that they would say are their career. People make changes all the time, and that is okay. No longer is it the norm that people start a job after high school or university and do it until they retire. And so that is a good thing in my mind, that we can lean into strengths and into things that we care about and go in those directions. I think when we're able to focus on that first, going, this is okay. And in fact, many people do this. It takes the pressure off of, well, I'm a quitter and I need to find this job and I need to stick it out, to we want to have a bias toward action and have a lot of ideas. Let's put everything down and analyze. And so I've worked with students before that really had no idea what they wanted to do. And so we started with what they're actually interested in. They said, I have no idea. And so we sat down for an hour and a bit and wrote down every single thing they'd ever done. Obviously not everything, but every job they'd done, every place they'd volunteered, every team they were on, all of these pieces, and just made this giant pros and cons list. Okay, what do we love about this? What do we not? And through that, just putting up our history, we were able to see, okay, it is a real priority that I am in a space where I can build relationships with other people, that I need to work in a team. It was something where he wanted to use his strengths. He loved using computers, but knew that he needed other people. And so we were able to take these pieces. We were able to take this desire for mentorship, and that he had done jobs where he was the boss and didn't feel equipped to be the boss, and that while it was nice and he was making more money, he felt like there was a roof that he was hitting because he didn't have that guidance. And so those little pieces of information, obviously that isn't solving everything, but it allowed him, as we were going forward and coming up with different ideas, to go, oh, this is something that would help sustain me further. These little things that we often don't think about. Even from having an office with a window. Like for me, if I didn't have a window in my office, I would find that really challenging. And it's so small. And obviously I'm not shifting my career direction based on a window. But it's those little things that can often be helpful that we forget about. We go, often we'll look at pay, we'll look at degree, we'll look at commute, and then everything else is, who cares? And so when we're starting from scratch and saying, I'm making a shift, I'm building from the bottom, I think it is valuable to start the conversation from the bottom. It takes longer that way, but we're not just guessing. We actually can have some substance to make an informed decision that's strategic and intentional.
I think some people have a challenge with I think there's this age thing when it comes to career transitioning, right? Like you rightly said, you have to start from the basics, like lay the cards on the table and know find your why are you moving, why are you transitioning. However, most people have come across with, they complain about the age. So they feel moving into a new career, I'm already over 40, how am I going to thrive, right? So do you think is a problem? Ageism, is it a thing?
Ageism as a whole is definitely a thing. It is really dependent on the individual place, so it's hard to say, yes, this is affecting everyone in every industry. I definitely feel for people who are making large changes and feel like they've gone backward. And I see that in so many of the students that we work with that are not only making a career shift, but a whole life shift, coming to a new context and not being sure where to start. And so I would say definitely it is a very real aspect that is good to know and understand. I don't think it is an impassable wall. It's something that I think is good to know it's there and be able to be strategic to move forward.
Well, because I know this thing, what I'm talking about now has caused serious mental breakdown for someone I know personally, and it's not even because of the maybe immigration thing. It's not even about immigration. It's even where this person is comfortable, is in an environment. The person is in an environment where he or she is comfortable. However, the transitioning created a serious mental breakdown. Right. So how do you educate people to know what to look out for whilst transitioning to help them keep their mental health intact?
Yeah. It's a really big question where there isn't this one shiny perfect answer for sure. I think that when you have the privilege of knowing that a transition is coming, there are lots of ways to prepare. Again, it's really dependent on the person of making sure that you have all of these different support systems in place if you do have the ability to do that. I know for many people transitioning, that is not the case. We don't have the luxury of 6 months, a year ahead of time. It's last minute, and I think it is always so important to know that there are many aspects to life. And often we go, okay, you got work-life balance, right? You got work on 50% and you got life on 50%. And then when 50% is gone, there's a lot of gap. And I think it shouldn't be so fragmented that it are these two separate pieces, but it also shouldn't be homogenous, that there's only one, that it's 100% work and all my life is a part of work. So that being said, I think it's really valuable to know how many aspects of life are outside of the paycheck, outside of the job. There's a growing direction or mindset that work should be everything. All of our relationships should be connected within our work, and our healthcare is connected with work, and all of our social hours and all of our time, it should all be organized by the workplace. And I think there are definitely perks to that, but I think there are drawbacks to that as well. Often when I hear of stories like the one you're saying, where someone is truly feeling like there's no foundation there anymore after they've lost work, it's because a lot of the eggs were in that work basket. And so even though we're the Center for Calling and Career Development and a lot is focused toward careers, there's so much that makes a meaningful, impactful, and sustainable life outside of work, of really leaning into family and larger community, and whether that is through church or somewhere else. those are so valuable
Yeah.
and really shouldn't be forgotten in career decisions.
Yeah.
I know for my wife and I, we've made different moves dependent on career, and that was the main reason why we moved is, this job is such a great opportunity, and didn't necessarily think of all of those other pieces. And I think if we were to have to move again, a job would play a large role in that, but it would not be the singular decision. All of these other pieces, and for us, especially church and our church community, would carry such a high weight, because to go somewhere new and to be sustained there long term, it's more than just a job. It's more than just, I've got my immediate family, so I'm good. At least for me, I know that I have such a need for all of these other aspects of life, including work. It's not denying that, but so many other pieces that I think are deeply valuable to me in times of transition.
Brendan, thank you so much. But before I let you go, I will get some nuggets from you. You have to give us some practical nuggets or practical tips that people will use in making career transitioning.
Sure.
And also some other tips that will be useful for undergraduates and the graduate students to make good career choices. Can you give us maybe 3 of each?
Okay.
3 of each tips that would help students that are still undergoing their, studies in school before they graduate. What tips are you going to share to make them make good career choices? And as well, what tips are you going to share for people that are working already, people like me, to make good career choices in case they are transitioning?
Okay. So 6 total things.
Yeah.
Let's see. In terms of the big picture things, I think for current students and for people who have already graduated, already working, there is such a need to know yourself more and know the world around you more. That I think when you really do know what you are good at, gifted in, interested in, for yourself, I think that makes all of the decisions further down the road really easy. And practically speaking, resumes and cover letters and interviews, they all become so much easier when I'm actually drawing from a well that is true, that it will just be an outpouring of what we already know. So number 1, know yourself. Number 2, what are you actually interested in the world around you? I've seen so many different numbers where 75% of the world's population is dissatisfied with their work, which is a shocking amount. And so I think it is so important not just to choose a job that is the correct job title, but choose a job that you care about what the why is, what impact is actually being done. And so for current students, that is something that I'm always focusing on. What is the impact that we are interested in? Exactly. It's not what is the most important thing. What are we actually interested in working toward? A challenge that we are interested in solving. And I see that leads to far more satisfaction in work, regardless of job title. Okay, 2 things. I have to think of one more larger career transition. It's just, again, reiterating that it is okay to make transitions, to slowly make adjustments. I always tell the story of my mother-in-law has done so many different jobs over her life, and if you go through every one of them, some people will say, wow, she quits a lot of jobs. I disagree with that entirely. I think that she has leaned into the things that she's enjoyed, with each season of life that she's in, within each experience of going, I loved this, I want to do more of this. And so making adjustments is okay when done, going, okay, I feel like this is something that uses my strengths well, and there is a clear need that I want to fill. 3 larger ones, practical little tips. Students are filling a puzzle piece when they're applying for a job, and so every resume, every cover letter, they are crafting a specific thing saying, I am the perfect fit for you. And so taking the extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes to make those adjustments is so incredibly valuable and worth the time. If it's not worth the time, don't bother applying, because it should be worth that time. Number 2, you have lots of people that want to help you, and frankly, you have a lot of people that are in the same season of life as you, as students, and so rely on those other people.
Yeah.
So many students I talk to going, I have no one to practice an interview with. And my response is often, I guarantee that's not true.
Yeah.
There are so many people that are also trying to find work, that are also trying to build a network, that are trying to do these different aspects. And so I would turn to them first. They are your peers that are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
I talked to a student this morning, and he was going, I previously was a doctor. I now want to be in a larger policy and administration. I don't know anyone that is wanting to do the same things. And I stopped him because I said, this week I have 5 appointments that are very similar.
Yeah.
Someone who was a previous doctor who wants to be in healthcare administration.
Yeah.
And so there are so many people that we can learn from, including our peers, people that are on the same level. And lastly, there are lots of really great resources that we have in our office for Trinity students, but as a whole, there are so many great resources online. There are also a lot of resources that are not very good, and so having a discerning eye toward what is helpful and what is not is a skill that is learned, and it's learned through practice and through being intentional about how we're doing things. So I think there's great resources that students can take advantage of. Again, there's lots of different things on our website, but as a whole, there is a lot of help for students. Now, compared to 20 years ago, you have access to so much information. And so too many to shout out right now, but you're not alone in it, whether it is someone like a career coach, whether it is things online. For all students in different backgrounds and people making major career transitions, there are resources for you to help you through this and to be wise with the time that we're spending so that we can go forward and find work that we really do care about.
What about people that know your students? Because I know you're very passionate about your students.
Of course.
You love them so much. What about people that know your students that you have also coached, people that are currently working, that you also coach in career transitioning, what resources would you advise them to?
Yeah, well, I mean, lots. There's a really great resource called RAMP that I really like that is free for students. It's all AI powered, but really excellent in terms of doing research about organizations. I would be on LinkedIn, student or not. It doesn't need to be your best friend. You don't need to love it, but it is so helpful in making transitions and in finding work where you are able to make connections you would have never had access to. You are able to have this public history of you that recruiters can see. You're able to connect with people from previous schooling. There's great other features like LinkedIn Learning, which can help fill so many skill gaps. Is available to our students, but if you get a library card at any library, it's often available. And so again, tons of great, really great tools that aren't just for our students that you're able to find. So many, and there are new ones coming out all the time. So I'm sure by the time people listen to this, there's already going to be new ones.
Can you mention like 1 or 2 that you feel people currently working could make use of and gain value?
Yeah, if you're currently working and you're just wanting to learn further, LinkedIn would be that first one.
Oh, really?
I know so many different friends of mine and peers that are currently working, and in their mind they're going, well, I already have a job, I don't need LinkedIn. And so I would urge people to explore it even a little bit, to see if they know anyone working at these dream companies, to see, because like you said, you never know what the future holds. That if someone is currently working, that would be what I would recommend first. And then if you're not currently working and you're looking for work, I would say Ramped. I would say there's a company called Teal that's really excellent for helping with the application process. LinkedIn Learning again. There are lots of different specific people that I follow on various platforms that have really great information to help. Many of them, there's free versions and paid versions, so I don't want to recommend anything that someone has to pay for. You shouldn't have to pay for the vast majority of things. There's great resources for free.
Ooh, we've come to the end of today's episode on career coaching and career education. Thank you so much, Brendan, for coming. And hopefully we'll have you again, because I think there's so much more to this career education, because I know you know so much about resume writing, cover letter writing, and interview simulations and all. Brendan is the powerhouse for everything career. Thank you so much for coming, and we appreciate you. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.
Thanks.